Hello everybody. I thought it was a very nice day today here, even though it's fall. It's a very warm and sunny day, so I decided to record this video out here. Plus, we're going to talk about the illusion, the world, and probably better to do it in an open place. So, Maya, the illusion, is a word that we hear a lot, especially in the spiritual awakened people, in this new age language that we see all over the place. What is this illusion? I think it's interesting that as soon as we hear that the universe is an illusion, we're coming down from the perspective of materialism. So we're saying, no, the world is not material, it's not made of material, so it's an illusion. It's a hologram, but who's making the hologram? Who's making the illusion? It's something that you see now, especially now, scientists are beginning to see that the world and the universe is actually made of holographic aspects, and this whole idea that the universe is an illusion. And so we call it a simulated universe too. And this all has, of course, a basis to it. In non-duality, we know that the world is an illusion, but it's not a constructed illusion. You see, it's not based on material, it's not based on physicality, it's based in consciousness. But why do we call it illusion? Well, the word Maya actually comes from the idea of magic. You see, it's not illusion as deception, trickery, that sort of thing. It's magic. It's a sort of magical appearance that is happening. And it's not, the universe is not made for a specific purpose. It's made for play, for enjoyment, for the experience. We call this in the Law of One experience. The creator is experiencing itself. So we're talking about a simulation, which is not really a simulation. I think that's a word that implies that there is a programmer. But it's an illusion. It's not real in the sense that it's not physical. That's what we think it is, you see? So in that sense, it is an illusion. And the reason why we see it this way in the consciousness only model is because we perceive the appearance of solidity, of materiality, and even in our thought constructs, the idea of ourselves, we think that things are permanent. Now you see, we have covered already what is everything up to this point to understand that really everything is an illusion. If we know that there is no permanence, there is simply change, movement, a transactional activity between things, that's what the universe is. It's just a constant transformation. It's not permanent. It's constantly moving. What we perceive as the creation, it's a constant moving, transformation, and so on. And then we see that there is no actual self, as we saw in the video of Anatman. No self. There is no self. When you look for yourself, you can't find yourself. And this is why we look into identity to realize what's the nature of the universe. And so if there is no true self, and reality is not permanent, it's always changing, then what we perceive as ourselves and reality must be an illusion. Now this is an intellectual view, and here's where a lot of people that only get into the intellectual teachings of non-duality may begin to have problems understanding or living actually the illusion. And that's the key. The key to finding that the universe is an illusion, it's not to be disappointed and to feel like, oh God, all of this is useless. There is no point to life. See, that's the intellectual view of non-duality. When you approach this understanding, when you approach this gnosis, this knowledge that you actually don't exist, the only thing that exists is experience. And experience appears to be, it is perceived to be as something solid, something that is real. Real in the sense of physicality, of a true experience. But it is not made of anything in particular. Even when we say energy, energy is just another form of saying matter. It's a deeper dive into what reality is, coming out of the physical construct of things, objective reality, to a little bit more malleable idea of energy. Energy being something that is, it's always changing, it's always moving, you see? So it's tempting to say the universe is made out of energy. And we go into that. This is the metaphysical exploration. And so we can see all the infinite possibilities of iterations of energy moving in different patterns. And that's okay. That's part of the creation as well. But that is not the final view of the universe. The final view, which is not said by anybody, but confirmed by everybody, is that everything that we perceive is made out of consciousness. In other words, we know things. And so knowing is the basis of everything. Everything that stands out, that exists in reality, it's actually perceived and it is experienced, but it is also at the basis is a knowing. You know an experience of a perceivable thing. See, so the core of everything that we know is consciousness. We are always conscious of everything. And so anything, if we can say anything real about our experience, is the consciousness of it. The experience may come from perceptions, but these perceptions, again, and we can even test this in our reality, in our past, we have always been deceived by perception. So perception is a tool for discerning certain things. This is the reason why we have so many different views of the world. But it is perception what creates the experience, and the experience, we are conscious of it. So this is the reality of Maya, the illusion. The question is, how and why? Let's find out. Well, the how is, as I have been saying, there is a element of ourselves that we call the mind. And this is the aspect of reality that segments everything, that polarizes everything into up and down, into polarities, into warm and cold, into greater and lesser, and so on. This is the mind always doing this. Thanks to the mind is that we can discern a creation. The reality that we call the universe is perceived in duality. This is the basis of duality. It is the reason why we can experience ourselves. If we had no duality, then we couldn't experience everything or anything at all. So here's the other issue that is common in people when they say, well, you can understand non-duality, but you cannot live from it because the world is dual. The world is made out of two things. So you have to become that. You have to be that. Well, this is missing the point. And this is giving too much validity to the mind as an entity, actually as an identity, more than an entity. We give our identity to the mind, and this is what creates the ego. Now you can see how the ego here is an illusion as well, because there is no actual self doing the process of discerning things. It's only an activity. And the activity of this motion that we call mind is what's creating experience. Now the true way in which you can see the world of duality from a non-dual perspective is to simply observe what is. Don't put any names to it. And this is not something that you do, you as an independent agent. It's something that is happening already. So in any case, it's just a way of you returning to the source of what's causing everything. The source of it is consciousness. Consciousness is aware of duality. And if you are consciousness, then you are that non-dual reality. You are the universe in this case. But you see, the play here is between the separate self or ego and the true reality that we are. Because that's how things move. It moves from the source of perception, the source of experience, the source of everything, into the play. And you can see this is the why. The reason why we have a creation is because we can. Consciousness can and will, just like the reason you have imagination. You can and you will have an imagination. If it's possible to explore all possibilities, you will do it. And I'm talking to you, consciousness. You are doing that. And the degree in which you can imagine things is obviously infinite. But you see, it's always you, the true self, doing it at any moment. This is also the basis of manifestation, but I won't get into that. And it's always the true self creating this perception of reality. So you see, the world actually is an illusion in terms that it is impermanent and it is not perceived by anybody. It just is. But there is always the activity of the mind, and because we are identity, we associate our beingness, our identity, our nature, we associate it with the changes, with the moving aspects of reality. This is the why, because only in this way can we perceive ourselves as an independent agent in the process of change, almost like navigating our own mind, our own creation. And we call that evolution. Spiritual evolution, for those who like that phrase. We call it apotheosis, becoming one with the divine. And we extrapolate this apotheosis to a process that must be made. Made by whom? It's a simple process. It's happening. It's not something that anybody can do, because who is there to do it? It's simply happening. But there's another word in Sanskrit which is lila, which means play, playfulness, divine play. And this is the reason why we invest ourselves in the drama of the separate self. This is why this is so tempting. And it is indeed the default mode of humans, is to invest themselves into this dramatis persona that we call the ego or the separate self, only to find that in the end it's not there. That end can be here in this reality, because the true nature of ourselves is always present, or it can be done at death. So no matter how you play it, you will always find out your true self. But the benefit of enjoying it here is that you live up this illusion. That is the key. The key is not to suffer through the illusion, but to enjoy it, to have fun with it, to realize that there's nothing you can do, and that is actually liberating. It shouldn't be an anxious thought that you can't do anything about it, because you don't exist. So hooray, let's enjoy it. Let's have fun with it. So Maya this illusion is not something that we should be aware of for some sort of defense against it, or to feel depressed about it. It's just to know what's the nature of who you are. And this is why it's key to always develop an interest in knowing who you truly are. Because once you know that, then everything is just in plain sight. It's simple to understand. The world is play. It's a game. And we are the players. We can invest ourselves in this contracted individual person, or we can relax into our true self, which really is the purpose of the divine play in the end. So that's all I got for this video. I hope this helped you explore a little bit more this term of the illusion, Maya, because it's something that sometimes can get into us, and we believe that there's something that we should be afraid of, because there is a system, and it's being created by whom? It's being created by you. You are consciousness. So as long as you remain within your true self, how can you have fear if you're creating all of this? But it's not you, the ego, not you, the separate self. It's you, the self. It's the only thing there is. All right, so this is the point in the video where I say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you just being interested in these topics, because I like to share, and I have more videos coming on non-duality, because guess what? I love it, and I'm glad that some people can actually benefit from this. So again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.